All right, folks, Mark here. So, I'm in my Meg moment right now, magnetic moments. I'm on my magnetic moments, my magnetic domain. I'm searching, folks. I'm always in the kitchen cooking up something, right? So, if y'all saw my last two videos, if talked about Meg, and I want to still talk about that. I've been doing my natural selection, my evolution, and all that, but I want to mix it up. And this is some very interesting stuff I'm stumbling upon, and talking about goals, right? Wanting to achieve your goals, and working towards your goals. Here's the thing: once you start to understand how life works, once you start to understand how the world operates, how the universe works, and once you start to understand your place, your purpose, and your role in the universe, and understand your nature, your makeup, your build, your basic building blocks, working hard towards your goal, that phrase no longer holds or carries any meaning, any real significant meaning. It takes second class. It becomes second class. That statement, work hard towards your goals, become secondary, because you understand that working hard towards your goals is not the way to get to your goals. It's actually attracting your goals, becoming an attract. You start to understand, your perspective shifts, right? You shift your perspective and you start to understand that you don't work hard towards your goal. Rather, you learn to attract, become an attractive force for your goals. So you become an attractive force for your goals. So in other words, you attract your goals towards you. So you start learning how to attract your goals towards you, as opposed to you working hard towards your goal. And that, for a lot of us, that might sound odd, absurd, ridiculous. But again, once you start to understand your role, your purpose, and your nature, once you start to learn about your nature in correlation to the universe, you understand that you are you would be considered a ferromagnetic property. Right. Right. You would be considered ferromagnetic. 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 You'll understand that you're ferromagnetic. Ferromagnetic means any kind of substance or material that has the ability to be magnetized. Not all materials can be magnetized. Nickel, iron, or just to name a few that can be magnetized. But not all materials can be magnetized. And ferromagnetic simply means, again, a material or a substance that has the capability or ability to be magnetized. And when you understand your nature, your buildup, and if you watch the videos I discussed about the MEG, magnetoencephalograph, and what hinders it and what supports it, then you'll understand what I mean, because you can magnetize your mind. You can magnetize your mind frame, your mindset, and then at that point you start to attract the things that you desire. You begin to become an attractive force for those things. Whereas you no longer work hard towards those things, rather you allow those things to flow towards you. And that is a magnetic field of force that you and I, each individual, possess. But here's the kicker. Here's where things get a little complicated, frustrated, and impatient, where we become impatient. Most material in the universe, before I say that, let me take it back a little bit, give you a setup. Some basics. Electrons are negatively charged particles. They are tiny, teeny magnets. They orbit around an axis. Right, they spin around an axis. In the spinning of these electrons, they create a magnetic field. Now, stay with me here. This is chemistry on another level. And we're going to break down how these things gravitate, how you let things gravitate to you. So, electrons are tiny, teeny magnetic forces. They are negatively charged, they're called ions. Ions are within, I talked about this in the previous videos, ions are within the neurons of our brains. The neurons are the cells. We have billions of them within these cells. We have what's called ions. These ions are electrons. These electrons are magnetic. They're teeny tiny magnetic forces. They spin around an axis. When they spin, they generate a field. Now, each neuron or cell or atom by itself, that field is what's considered negligible, meaning it has no serious significant consequence. However, taken in a large dosage or collectively, you're talking about billions of these neurons all having teeny tiny electrons that are spinning, that are generating a magnetic field. Taken collectively, you create a aura or a field around your head and the rest of your body that is significantly, that is extremely significant. That field is extremely significant collectively. Individually, it's infinitesimal. Collectively, it has extreme significance. So, again, why is this important? Most material in our universe, the electrons in most materials, the atoms, the ions in most material are arranged in a way that they are not aligned. There's no alignment. Because there are no alignment in the arrangement of these electrons, they're called domains, by the way. Domains are regions where magnetic fields are aligned or they're not aligned. Again, a domain, a magnetic domain or a domain is simply a collection of magnetic fields that are either aligned in one orientation, meaning one direction, or they're not aligned. So they would be considered disarranged, disorganized, non-structured. Most materials, electrons are not aligned. So they're not arranged in a particular direction. And because there's no alignment of the electrons in a particular direction, these magnetic forces, they tend to cancel each other out. I'll say that again. The magnetic forces that are not aligned in most material tend to cancel each magnetic orientation out. So one electron oriented this way, another oriented that way, cancel each other's magnetic field out, and there's a net wash or net zero effect, neutral. And this is why most material. And as I said, you have other materials that's considered ferromagnetic, meaning they have the ability to be magnetized. Ferromagnetic material are materials where the said domains, the domains again are regions of magnetic fields that are either arranged, meaning magnetized, or not arranged, unmagnetized. If the ferromagnetic material, if their domains are aligned, that means that material is magnetized and it's going to attract its corresponding equivalents to it, whatever it may be. So you and I would be considered ferromagnetic in the sense that we have electrons in our, like I said, in the neurons of our brain cells, which are our brain cells, billions. And the domains in our brain, the magnetic domains in our neurons, right? Our brain have our brain would have what we just discussed, which is the magnetic domains, and I just told you what those are. Our brain have that in the sense that if there is an alignment of the electrons, right, or the ions, the flow of ions that are flowing through our neurons, our cells, if there's an alignment, if we can align then now we're talking about the chemical composition, right? Because the electrons flow through our brain neurons. They flow by means of electrical impulses, and this flow is what creates generates the field, which is what is around our heads, our magnetic field. This is a chemical composition because the electrons are not. They exist in a chemical state. That's why it's called electrochemical properties. They're called electrochemical properties because they exist in a chemical state. So the chemical composition of our neurons in our brain, if we can learn how to align our magnetic domains. Remember, they can exist. A domain is a collection of fields. Individually, they are infinitesimal. They are inconsequential. They have no real significance individually, but collectively, they are of extreme significance, and they're powerful. Now, if we can align the flow of electrons, if we can align our magnetic domains in one trajectory or in one orientation, we become what's called magnetized. Our minds become magnetized. We can magnetize our minds the same way you can take a screwdriver, and if you rub it against a permanent magnet or a strong magnetic object, that screwdriver will become magnetized. You can then put it next to a pair of keys or any other kind of nickel or iron, and you'll notice it will attract other objects to itself because it has been magnetized as a result of rubbing it with a hard or permanent magnet. That rubbing, that friction, what that friction does to the screwdriver is it aligns all the magnetic domains that's already inside of the screwdriver. The magnetic domains, because the screwdriver will be considered ferromagnetic. And again, ferromagnetic simply means materials or objects that can be magnetized. And all it needs to do, that rubbing, is going to take the domains that exist in the screwdriver. And domains, again, are a region or the electrons that are not arranged in one trajectory. A domain is a group of electrons that are not arranged in a trajectory, or they can be arranged in a trajectory. So they either are or they aren't. That rubbing is going to align those magnetic domains, and as a result of the alignment, those electrons are going to become magnetized and they will draw other objects to them. You and I, keeping that in mind, that's how you and I can magnetize our minds. You can magnetize your mind by aligning your magnetic domains, which exist in the billions of neurons or the neuronal cells on the cellular level, the neurons that exist in it. You can align your magnetic domains that exist in your neurons, which are the neurons, which are the brain cells, and within those cells is the ion, and the ion is the electron. It's a little confusing. Watch the video again, slow it down. So you and I have the ability to magnetize our minds. And this is where the idea of Magneto from X-Men came from. This is how they came up with the character. The writers, the directors, the artists, those who produced that show, that cartoon, they understood the power of magnetic domains, magnetizing the mind, magnetic, electro, wait a minute. Magneto, no, I'm bugging out. Magneto is the character. Meg means magnetic electroencephalograph. Yeah. Damn, I see, this stuff is so heavy, it kind of lost me for a second there. And then I got caught up in the X-Men cartoon. I started thinking about Magneto. But magnetic electroencephalograph, which is the MEG, which is a measurement of the activity of the brain. I just had a glitch in my own brain. I just had a glitch, like glitching the ghost in my machine. So anywho, in any event, so understanding that our minds are magnetic and we have the capability to magnetize our minds, and we do this not in the sense of rubbing like we would with a magnet, but what we can do to magnetize our mind is first be aware of it, understand it. You can never, we do it naturally anyway. It's called flow. You know, when you're concentrating on some project, right? Like when you're really focused on a project and you're working really hard on that project and nothing else seems to exist but that project, you've magnetized your mind. That's the result or consequence of someone who's magnetized. They enter a state called flow. Athletes, artists, people who are extremely focused and the rest of the world just goes quiet and nothing else exists but what they're concentrating on. That's a result, or that's the consequence of a magnetic mindset. So you and I, everyday working people, everyday ordinary man, have the capabilities and the potentialities to also magnetize our minds. And once you start to learn how to do this and harness this power and channel this power, you now will start to understand working hard towards a goal is a traditional thought process. It's a traditional mental mindset, an unconventional, unorthodox neo mindset of attracting, becoming an attractive force for the things you desire. That is a neo orthodoxy, or neo, way of thinking. That is a new age, new way of a new neo mindset. You now understand that you don't have to work hard towards a goal. Rather, you let your goal work hard towards you by becoming a magnet and attract that goal to you. And it might sound a little, like I said, unorthodox, unconventional, and could sound a little ridiculous, but this is fifth dimensional chess we're playing here. This is thinking outside of the box. This is, starting to learn about your neurons, and learn about yourself, and learn about the electrical impulses, the wiring of your mind, the wiring of your brain, and how to utilize that, how to connect that to the elements that's already in the universe. And once you connect, the universe comes to your beck and call. It's at your beck and call. So yeah, till next time. Y'all know how to do cookbooks. Bring information. Peace.